Have you ever noticed how quickly the day begins with noise? For many of us, before we've even spoken a word of prayer, we've already scrolled through a dozen updates, checked our emails, or skimmed endless notifications. We wake up with buzzing alerts and we fall asleep with screens glowing inches away from our eyes. It feels like we're always on, always connected, yet deep inside, strangely empty. The promise of technology is connection. Social media says, stay in touch. Emails say, be productive. News says, stay informed. But what these voices often deliver is not connection, but distraction. Our hearts begin to feel fragmented, pulled in 1,000 directions. We know what it's like to laugh at a meme one moment, then feel overwhelmed by bad news the next, all before breakfast. Our minds jump from one thing to another, restless, tired, unable to linger in stillness. And here's the deeper reality. With all the constant noise, it becomes harder to hear the one voice that truly matters, the gentle, guiding, comforting voice of God. The psalmist wrote, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46, verse 10. But how can we be still when our hearts are addicted to swiping, scrolling, and checking? This isn't just about productivity, it's about our souls. This is the hidden cost of being always on. When digital noise drowns out silence, when we're never without a screen, we risk forgetting the presence of God that anchors us. And if we're honest, that's why we feel drained even after hours of scrolling. We're plugged into everything, but disconnected from the one who gives life. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to stay this way. God is not lost in the noise. He is waiting for us in the stillness. He is inviting us to unplug, not as punishment, but as an invitation to rediscover peace, joy, and His presence. When most people hear digital detox, they think of rules, restrictions, and deprivation. But what if we saw it differently? What if unplugging wasn't about losing something, but about gaining something far greater? What if stepping away from the screen was an act of liberation for the soul? Think of it like this. Every time you put down your phone, you're opening your hands to receive something better. It's not about rejecting the digital world forever, it's about carving out sacred spaces where God can meet you without competition. Imagine sitting under a tree in the quiet of the morning. No buzzing, no beeping, no glowing screen demanding attention. Just you, the breeze, the sunlight, and God. That quiet moment becomes holy ground. When you lay aside the constant noise, your heart becomes more sensitive to the Spirit's whisper. This is not theory, it's reality. People who intentionally take breaks from screens often report reduced anxiety, improved sleep, and deeper, more meaningful conversations. Families reconnect at the dinner table when phones are set aside. Spouses find intimacy restored when screens are replaced with eye contact. Even our bodies feel the difference, calmer, lighter, at rest. And spiritually, the benefits are immeasurable. When you sit in silence before God, His Word begins to come alive in new ways. Prayer feels less like a rushed to-do and more like a conversation with your closest friend. The Bible describes Jesus as often retreating to lonely places to pray. If even the Son of God needed sacred space away from crowds and voices, how much more do we? Digital detox, then, isn't about deprivation, it's about creating room for what truly matters. It's an invitation to hear God's voice more clearly, to rest in His presence, and to remember that His peace is not found in notifications, but in stillness. Section 3. Practical pathways to peace offline. It's one thing to talk about the benefits of unplugging, it's another to actually do it. So, how do we take practical steps toward finding peace offline? The first step is setting boundaries. For example, choose no phone zones or no screen times. Maybe you decide that your dining table will always be screen-free, making meals a time of connection. Or you commit to putting your phone away at least 30 minutes before bed, letting your heart settle in peace instead of chaos. Even small steps like these begin to carve out breathing space. Second, curate your digital input. You don't have to absorb every voice online. Unfollow accounts that drain your joy. Unsubscribe from emails that clutter your mind. Limit your exposure to constant news updates that stir anxiety. Instead, fill your life with voices that build faith, inspire growth, and point you to God. And most importantly, fill the quiet with God's presence. When you put down the phone, pick up the Bible. When you silence notifications, open your heart in prayer. When you step outside without earbuds, let creation itself remind you of God's glory. These aren't just habits, they are holy rhythms that recenter your soul. Little by little, these steps retrain your heart to find satisfaction not in the endless scroll, but in the eternal presence of God. Section 4. Living a balanced, spirit-led life. The goal of digital detox isn't to reject technology forever. God can use technology for good. After all, that's how this very message is reaching you. The goal is balance. It's about living spirit-led in a digital world without being enslaved to it. Here's the truth. Peace is not found in abandoning the digital world. It's found in trusting God to be greater than the digital world. When we learn to step away regularly, we realize we're not missing out. We're actually gaining something far better: clarity, intimacy with God, and a renewed sense of purpose. Yes, you'll still check emails. Yes, you'll still use social media, but it will no longer own your heart. You'll move from compulsive scrolling to intentional living. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you unplug, you're practicing surrender. You're telling God, I don't need constant updates. I need you. Living this way transforms us. We become calmer, more present with others, more attuned to God's voice. Our spiritual lives grow deeper. Our daily lives become lighter. And slowly, the digital world takes its proper place, not as master, but as servant. So let this be your reminder. Regularly unplug, not just for rest, but for renewal. Step away from the screen to step into God's presence, because true peace, the kind that stills your soul, can never be downloaded. It can only be received in stillness, in surrender, in God's presence.